Hey guys, welcome back to Super Switch U. Today we're doing another review. I want to catch this one while I still have all the thoughts fresh in my brain, and to show off. I got a new shirt. I can't get it all the way up there to show you guys, but it's Metroid Samus Returns. I came in yesterday, and so I'm like, I'm excited to show it off because I like it. But this also, that's the game that we're going to talk about. Not Samus Returns, but because it'd be really cool if we had that on the Switch or Switch 2. But no, I mean Metroid Prime 4. We're going to talk about Metroid Prime 4. We're going to give it a review, my full thoughts, U-score, whole treatment. So, go ahead and start this. At the time of recording this, I beat it last night. This probably won't go up for a while, because I've got to work it into the schedule somewhere. But yeah, I did finally beat it. I've got thoughts, but like with all reviews now, I would like to try to show off some of the game, even if we don't play anything. And yeah, audio is still a nightmare. But I've now ran into the issue of I can't plug the headset in and the capture card without the USB extender. So I've got to work on that too. And I know you'll be like, oh, well, this doesn't say that you beat it, but I did beat it. We go back to the save station one. Alright, because Chrono Tower, that would be the autosave past the point of no return, whereas Fury Green, I saved that like right before I was like, yeah, let's just go to the end. I could have let this thing save over it after I beat the game, but then it does tell you that like your items, your scans don't carry over, so you can't 100%. And I kind of think I want to go look for the stuff and 100% this at some point. So I opted out of that. Not only that, but I'm not gonna lie, I was getting too frustrated with the final boss to not to ever try to beat it on normal, but to finish the gameplay in that particular setting, because I'm home for vacation, the kids are here, and yeah, I really like I can handle it if it's just that I'm dying and I haven't figured out what to do specifically, but like my people were dying, so it was frustrating me in a completely different way, because like I had zero control over how bad they were. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But I would like to get out here to probably the biggest area of complaint, and then I mean not my complaint specifically, but the internet's complaint, critics' complaints. I do kind of want to talk about that because it's yeah. I feel like there's a couple things they could have done to make this better. But overall, it's a good game. It was a really good game. I do like the Metroid Primes. Not great at first-person shooters. It might have something to do with the glasses. I don't know. I've tried aiming real guns and paintball guns, and I don't trust me to have your back. I might just shoot you in the back unintentionally, but like, oops, I missed. Let's get out here first before I really try to dive in. There's certain areas that I want to cover, but I want to get out here on my bike. I can't go through and like show you every single thing, but like I said, this one spot kind of covers a decent chunk of my gameplay time. Because like it says that I only played it for like 14 hours or whatever. But then when you look at my time on the Switch too, it's like 20 plus hours, which means I spent a lot of time in some menus and redoing some stuff. Okay, so this lovely place, Soul Valley. So, in case you don't have a general idea of Metroid Prime 4, which I would have to tell you, like a lot of this is going to be spoilers and stuff, but um, basically, when you get past the beginning stuff and you get all through Fury Green and you get your psychic powers and stuff, they throw you out here into Soul Valley, which is just a stretching desert all the way across, except this lovely place, which is a gaping hole in a mine. Uh, but you don't get to explore that. You can just fall right into that hole and you can die. Um, but you go to like one of 4 different uh, little dungeon areas, right? So you got, I'm going to try to do this in order. You got Vault Forge and a ice belt and flare pool, and finally you've got the Great Mines, and that's specifically the order that you do that in. But you also have to go back and forth to get specific items for upgrades to your gun and abilities. To, Metroid style, very very Metroid style. Um, So you do revisit a couple of those places multiple times, and then eventually the end of the game takes you to the Chrono Tower, which is very, very limited in what this is. Almost, almost feel like this is a downside too, but and in between these places, you've got little shrines, right? You got these things here, and they're just little bitty rooms that has some kind of a puzzle in it, kind of like the shrines in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Which I got to be honest, the fact that we were trying to go that close to Breath of the Wild that I didn't care for in a Zelda, in a Metroid Prime, not great, but it's limited. So like that's fine. I almost hold on a second. Okay, I think the whole computer just froze. I was like, do I gotta fix the capture card? But then I wasn't moving, and that was scary. And I almost feel like it would be better if like the whole thing took place in the Great Mines, and you were kind of. I mean, it'd probably be a little closer to Donkey Kong, I think, at that point. But you kind of went down through and found your way to each of these areas: the icy mountains and the ice belt, and the volcanoes of Flare Pool, and the big voltage thing. Like, at least then it would. It would feel more connected and like you were doing stuff in between. A lot of this desert is empty, which I think is going to be more my complaint. Excuse me as I take another sip of Rockstar here. I'm recording this the following morning, so bear with me. But yeah, like there's stuff, but it's not good stuff. I had a similar complaint to Mario Kart World. There was a lot of empty space. Not ready for that. Go back to the map. A lot of empty space. So like sometimes an enemy might show up, or a few enemies might show up, and you got to shoot at them. And you've got a ton of the little green energy crystals that you have to collect to fill this thing up, which I filled it up. Oh, actually, I guess you could keep filling it up past that. So now I need to check and see what that does. And when you fill it up the first time, you get the legend suit or legacy suit, which basically it just changes you to a more silver color, which actually kind of looks nice, and it gives you the ability to set a barrier for so long that enemies just kind of damage themselves on, but you can't take damage while the barrier's up. So that's kind of neat, but So that's most of what's out here is just random enemies and uh, green crystals, and then you're looking for these things and these Galactic Federation debris sites that sometimes have upgrades. And actually, I feel like all four had some kind of a tank, or well, not tank upgrades. There was no tank upgrades. It was shot upgrade expansions. Sorry, shot expansions and missile expansions. Except for one had a psychic power bomb expansion. But then there was also the mech parts that you need for the end of the game. Which, when you're at that far, you get all 5 of the warp master keys. Um, one of the mech parts you got to get into here causes you to fight a boss over here. So like this space isn't completely wasted, but it's not really used until the end. So in the meantime, you have just this massive flat area of nothing. I think it's this one. It might be over here. I don't remember, but this looks flat. So yeah, a lot of the desert's wasted. And then the worst part of all of it is that when you got to go from here to, I mean, even back here, it takes a while. But sometimes you got to go from the ice belt to the flare pool, and there's no automatic warping. There's no teleporters. Nothing. Like, you got to do that drive, whether you need the stuff in between or not. And that eats up a lot of gameplay, especially if you don't know what you're going for. So, like, let's say you make this long drive over here, but then the thing you needed was over here. Oh my god! Hey, you gotta drive it. You gotta drive that whole distance. And after a while, you get sick of driving in the desert on a horse with no name. Man, you're just praying for some rain. But yeah, so just this whole thing is probably the most of my complaints to this game. Like I said, there's a little bit for this here. When you finally get through and you get all the mech parts and get in, it's like this big conclusion here. It's mostly cutscene. A little bit of walking, mostly cutscene, some device interaction. And by that, I mean, like, open a door, walk, and then you get some more cutscenes. Until you get to your final boss fight, which is, it's frustrating. There's a little bit of complaint for the final boss. We'll start with this because it's most complaint, I think. Everything else it's fine. But no, you can die in the final boss fight without dying. And that's because all 5 of your buddies that you pick up along the way and you go into this fight with, Mackenzie and Duke and Armstrong and the one-eyed sniper guy, even though he does apparently have 2 eyes, and the robot, they can die. They can die and then just kill the whole thing for you, and like, you're done. Which is what I was getting frustrated on. I wasn't dying, but like, it would get to the point where all of the guys' little arm things turned into thunder dragon heads, and these people would like look for the purple spaces on the ground and get electrocuted, and so that you'd have like 3 that would drop at the exact same time, and you can't heal them from a distance. Like, you have to be right over them. And I'd get one, and I'd go over there, and I'd get the second one, and before I could ever even find where that third guy's laying, he dies, and then you gotta start the whole thing again. Yeah, like, what is that? What is that? You never have people in a final boss in a Metroid or a Metroid Prime game. Why do I have to care about these people now? Especially whenever I left them all here at the end anyway. And that, like, I don't know if there was actually options. It felt like they were trying to give you the option. I missed if there really was the option to just shoot a missile, because it was, that cutscene and Mackenzie sacrificed himself, and they're all like trying to hold back. I've already lost his name Silex. They're trying to hold Silex back, and so you're standing in the teleporter. There's a device, and then you could see all your buddies. And I swear it said missile before it said push A to teleport. And I'm like, I don't really want to do this boss fight again, so I pushed the teleport button. And Logan's here. Hold on just a second. Good morning, buddy. Hey, can you hang out for just a minute and let Daddy finish the video? Okay. Go back out there with Mama. Sorry, can you give me like just a few more minutes? Love you. Okay. So anyway, that's pretty much the complaint. There is that there might have been two different endings. I don't know. And at some point, I will go back through and do it and try to do that on normal difficulty and not setting the difficulty down so my people don't die. As far as the actual dungeons, like they were pretty good, especially for what you were using, like the ice belt. You go across a mountain, and then it cuts you off. And I don't remember what the boss fight with that one was. It was good, but it's been a little bit since then. I did not do this in rapid succession. I played this game while I was trying to also raise family. So like there was a lot of in-betweens where I didn't get a chance to play. Whether it was I had to check something out for a video for you guys, or I was taking care of that. It's hard to focus on any game this anymore. So don't remember that one as well. The volcano was pretty cool. There was a big old rock lava dragon boss fight, and you had to. It was irritating, but it was irritating to the point that I could keep going and learn. Like I learned his patterns, I beat him, but I don't know why we haven't started doing checkpoints in boss fights. But that's what was frustrating me there, is that it's like 3 different sections. And the first time, it's learning his moves. So, like, of course, I kind of died out because he's sitting there shooting fire and stuff, and, like, just depleting your life if you're not prepared for certain things. But then you have to do the first section again where you're on the bike and you gotta shoot the little pimple things on the dragon, which is, it's not hard, but it's time consuming because you gotta chase him down. You can only hit it when he's undulating up and not down. And yeah, not great to have to do multiple times. And so the first time I died, and then went through and I got to the 3rd section, and it looks like you beat him, and he's laying down, he's not doing anything, like he's dead, but it doesn't tell you what to do. His mouth is hanging wide open, and I didn't do it in time, so he came back up and I died. So I had to do it a 3rd time, which is really frustrating. And apparently you're supposed to shoot the psychic thing, like the missile, in and dodge all of his weird little through his throat and hit the nice little weak point in his esophagus. Which I got the 2nd time, because I thought about that. I was like, man, that's probably what they want. You can't really walk up to him and morph ball it. And that was it. But it was still a good boss fight. It was still a good dungeon. I don't have a lot of complaints. They're fine for Metroid Prime ones. Vault Forge, this one is kind of a little different because this is basically a very long extended tutorial for the Viola bike. So there's a lot of driving tutorial racing sequences in that. But I mean, it was still okay. There was still some dungeon stuff before you get to the Viola, and you kind of go through this factory as you're building the bikes. So I mean, that's kind of neat to see. Just once, like don't ever do that to us again in Metroid Prime game, but it's all right. Great Minds felt very into the game because everybody kept like dying, but they didn't die. They were just like, oh, I'm gonna stay behind and sacrifice myself. Just go, get it done, and then they would just show up later. There's no stakes. There's no stakes in the mine. But man, that boss in there, it was like an overpowered grifter, I guess is what they're calling him. And so he's like massive. He's like spider monkeying all over the wall super fast. And as you take his health down, he starts to like get real hard plates all over it. So it limits where you could shoot to knock him down to actually hit the weak point. That was also a little frustrating. But Frustrating in a good way. There's a difference between frustrating in a good way, where like you're really testing your skills and you've got a challenge, versus frustrating in I can't do anything because these other people are dying and I can't stop anything from hitting them. I can only go over there and play medic for a while, and then something that you don't really do a whole lot throughout the game. Hey, buddy, can you just a little bit longer? Daddy's almost up. Thank you. Mommy. Okay. Anyway, so is that the story was fine. You get it through the game. You get teleported to this weird planet, and you're going through and finding that these people, they had these psychic abilities because of these rocks or whatever, and they thought they were going to have all this lifetime peace, and then of course people manipulate that and things happen, and then there's a green energy type of rain or something, and it turned them into the grifters. So that's what I caught from it. Anyway, again, I couldn't focus very much, but it's neat that this people of the planet became the bad guys and all that. I will say this though, it became apparent to me that I don't remember seeing any Metroid in this game. For a Metroid Prime, there were no Metroid. Even weirder is I think there's icon elements for this game that Nintendo put out that have Metroid in it. But I don't remember finding any Metroid in here to fight at all. I'm not even really sure how it ties in to any of that. More so that it's just a story for Samus. So should we really be calling it Metroid if Metroid have no part? I don't know. It's just food for thought, I guess. But it doesn't take away from the game. It's a good game. It's just like, where's the Metroid? Dialogue, voice acting, that was all fine. Everybody kind of played their parts right, so like, I can't complain there either. It seemed like a lot of dialogue for a Metroid Prime game, but that's also okay. It helps push the story and things. You can connect to characters better, so like that's fine. It's just weird that Samus doesn't say a single word of dialogue, which I get people complained in Metroid Other M because Samus talked too much, but like, find that happy place, and like, she could answer somebody with like a, hey, it's this or whatever. Like, you don't have to have her give her life story every sentence, but like, something. She's not Link. Holy crap. I didn't think there's really anything else. Like the music all worked every single time you went to an area and there's enemies showed up. It was a good track to really emphasize like you're in danger. And just all of it kind of felt the mood, the tone, different places. So all of that works. Really, just my complaint is just this here. Like, I like the idea of taking chances and risks, and like, I'm not opposed to the bike. The bike is fine, but man, when it's just a device to get you across a big, massive area, almost like they didn't finish. Just a little bit longer, okay? I'll read you the Mario book. When it feels like they just didn't finish this area, so like this was just to connect everything in a time crunch, but they also had 8 years to make this game. Then I don't know, and it may not have been that. This might have been the plan the whole time, but they could have put more of these. They could have put more of this stuff. They could have put other kinds of challenges and things throughout. It just feels so empty, man. It's just so empty in places. Half the time I'm sitting here like opening the map trying to figure out where I'm actually at. It does help though that after you get so many of these crystals though, right there, when you fill the little energy crystal thing up to a certain point, you get a radar that shows you where other crystals are, so that's always a plus. And like I said, you get the mech parts. It would have probably been better if you could have played as the mech, and there was some kind of challenge to get into Chrono Tower. I think that might have helped the fact that you didn't do anything inside of Chrono's Tower. Um, not a big deal there either. You get neat upgrades like the different elemental shots. The psychic abilities are really neat. Like actually being able to move bombs that you place as the morph ball and like throw it into different things. That's a neat skill that will never be used because at the very end of the game, she plants the fruit of knowledge or whatever. She takes the crystal out, drops it in there with it. So like she's never gonna have these things again. Like, that's a one and done kind of thing. So rest in peace, Psychic Samus. But that's okay. We don't. We'll get something cool if they do another one. They'll come up with another gimmicky type of ability. I don't know who I missed in the Galactic Federation thing. He was probably right at the beginning, and I can't go back. Um, I didn't get a lot of the scanning. I never do. Like I said, like this bike is fine. One thing I will say though is like the mouse controls for this game, the Switch 2, it's great for shooting. I loved it for shooting. It was really helpful to somebody who's not super accurate. Man, it does some funky things to the bike because you also have to control the camera and stuff while driving the bike. Ooh, some crystals in this. Um, and it makes it hard to do. And same thing with motion control, but you only have the option to either set it as like this play style or kind of a mix where like you could set mouse control, or if you don't have it as mouse control, it would be motion control. Um, and one thing that does kind of help though, there's a setting you can do with this play style that if you're locked onto an enemy, you can use motion control in that general area to be a little bit more accurate, which is great because the thumbstick is not good for that. Uh, I did too much of my gameplay in just standard controller. It's probably to the point that I could bring this back up, but I kind of showed off the points I was trying to make. But yeah, I did standard controller a lot, but it's not great. It's just all around okay. Whereas mouse control fails with the bike, and motion control fails with the bike. I should use that bike a lot in the desert. So, um, yeah, it's too much to go through and turn it off and turn it back on, and I don't care for it. But I think that mostly covers the things I wanted to say. So let's go ahead and get to the U score, and I will explain this in just a second. But we're going to go ahead and just give it the 5 out of 5, which I want to say the fact that I'm doing just a 5 score system. Hold on. Hey, buddy, can you go play just a little longer? Daddy's almost done. Because I'm just doing a 5 number system instead of everything really good only being a 4 out of 5, because there's not going to be a ton of perfects. 5 out of 5 really just means that it was a generally really great experience. Not that it's a perfect experience, right? Because we could still do better by putting more stuff out in the desert, things like that. But I could still have fun. I could still have a fun time with the desert being so empty. It just minor irritations, but not so much to the point that it was taking away from the fun I was having in the game. Because I did want to get to those other dungeons. I did want to keep exploring and find all the stuff. And at one point, I was just going through the desert and looking for the shrines and getting the energy crystals and stuff. And so there was a level of exploration for a while and unlocking that map. But once the map was unlocked and I had everything I needed from the desert, I was done. I was like, no more, please. But that was into the game stuff. And so then I was just going to beat the game. And at that point, I would have liked the teleporter. But if I had it early on, I might not have explored as much and found the things that I needed to find. So maybe there's a point that whole time. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and give it the 5 out of 5 because it's fantastic. It's just turn the camera on. There we go. I feel like it deserves better than 4 out of 5 because a lot of things that are better are going to be a 4. Great games are going to be a 5. Moderate, okay, like middle of the road is 3. 2 is like not so great but still playable, and 1's going to be basically either really, really bad that I hated every minute of it, or it's going to be broken games. So we have to kind of split that. So 5 out of 5 for Metroid Prime 4. Samus was great in that. I did. Like I said, there were tiny things here and there. I could nitpick it, but I gotta look for a lot of the other nitpicks. Because that final boss should just been me and Stylux, and then I could just blame me for dying and not Mackenzie for the 3rd time in 2 minutes. That guy probably should have stayed home for the mission there, but it's okay. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you agree or disagree, have your own thoughts or opinions or little nitpicks throughout the game, go ahead and share it. Let's talk about it. Maybe I do kind of agree with that and I just missed it while talking about it, because there's a good decent amount to talk about there. Good 15-20 hours worth of gameplay. So let's talk about your opinions. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe so we can get closer to 1,000 subscribers, and if you have subscribed, hit that bell notification button so you can be alerted to all upcoming videos, including Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday uploads, anything that happens off schedule, like video game releases or news or random announcements from Outright. That kind of stuff just kind of happens whenever. So make sure to hit that button, set it to everything so you don't miss anything. And with that, that's everything I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.